Hi, I just thought it would be useful for you to have this presentation and to listen to it so that you get another idea, a better idea of what's ahead of you with the Leaving Cert Applied. I know some of you have attended a meeting and you have a lot of information already, but sometimes, you know, it's better to hear the information more than once just to get it straight in your head. So I hope you find this helpful. All right. So the first thing is the delivery of the curriculum. So it's divided into 4 sessions. There's session 1 from September to January. So when we go back in September, the Leaving Cert Applied starts immediately. The first session will be over in January. So all the tasks and all of the key assignments associated with that task will be over in January. The next session starts in February, from February to June. Then in 6th year, there will be 2 sessions, again, September to January and February to June. Okay, so that's how the 2 years are divided up, 4 sessions. Now, what's on the curriculum? So I know some of you are concerned that the Leaving Cert Applied might not, be a full program. Well, it is a very full program. So the subjects are this. First of all, there's a vocational preparation, and that's divided into vocational preparation and guidance. So that's work with the guidance counsellor, advice on future careers, all of that, and English and communications. So English and communications, the English course is a very practical course, and it is really designed to help prepare the boys to be able to communicate effectively in both written and oral work. So they'll be given role play situations, they'll be given tasks to help develop their communication skills, both in the written sense and in the oral sense. The vocational education, then there's mathematical applications. Now, mathematical applications involves quite a bit of ICT and quite a bit of the application of maths to practical everyday stuff. There's the introduction to ICT that all students have to do, and there is quite a lot of information communication technology or computer skills involved in this course. Then they choose 2 vocational specialisms. So the vocational specialisms we will choose for you, because we have to choose those based on the teachers we have available to teach the subjects and the facilities we have available in the school. So we will decide those before September, and we will let you know what they are. But you can see there on the screen the different choices. There are 11, and you can choose 2 of those. Okay, so you can see there, there's engineering, there's technology, craft and design, agriculture, horticulture, hotel catering, tourism, office administration and customer care. The ones that maybe might not be of interest to the boys and we may not have the teachers available to teach them would be, let's say, hair and beauty, definitely anyway. Okay, I hope I'm not being sexist in that. Okay, so those are your vocational specialisms. Again, there's 11 there, but we are going to narrow that down for you. We will have to choose those based on what we have available here in the school from a teacher point of view and from facilities, physical facilities point of view. Okay, so keep going. We have general education then, so involved in that there's social education, where they will have to investigate current social issues. Irish, they do have to do Irish in 5th year, and that will be examined at the end of 5th year, and that's just conversational Irish, okay, how it's used in the everyday life. If they had to go out and buy something in the shop, that kind of thing. So arts education then, that could be drama, dance, visual arts, music, and we will have to have a look and see how we're going to deliver that program, based again on the teachers we have available and the facilities we have in which to deliver the program. Leisure and recreation, so that's quite a big area, and it's all about their health and physical exercise and recreational activities. Personal reflection task, that goes on over the 2 years. And that is very important. They have to do personal reflection on quite a bit of what they're doing in LCA and how they feel they're learning, their work experience, all of that. And then they have elective modules. And I'll talk to you as well about the elective modules. So the elective modules, they can choose 4 elective modules from the vocational specialisms that they are not doing an exam in. Okay, so if we set them 2 vocational specialisms, they can't take their elective modules from those. They have to take them from some of the other ones that are there. And also you see at the bottom of the screen there the leisure, and there's leisure and recreation, religious education and science. So they could also be elective modules. Then they do have an exam at the end of the 2 years, and the state exam subjects that they will be examined in are English and communications, 2 vocational specialisms, mathematical applications, social education, and Irish will be examined at the end of 5th year, but their modern foreign language, whichever one they choose to do, will be examined at the end of 6th year. Now, work experience is quite a big part of Leaving Cert Applied. So there are 4 modules of work experience over the course of the 2-year program. And there are 8 credits going for work experience. And it forms part of the final exam in English and communications. So you can imagine that would be applying for a job, creating a CV, all of that. And also it forms part of the student's personal reflection task. So it's quite important that you put a good bit of thought into the work experience and what kind of work experience you're going to do. So to get the best out of your work experience, there are 5 points here. Choose it carefully. So any work placement is worthwhile, but if you find one that fits with your career interests, all the better. Okay, so, you know, use all the contacts that you have. You might have older brothers or sisters, you might have uncles, aunts, anybody at all you know who can help to facilitate this for you, all the better. Have a work plan. So try to agree with your work placement, try and agree a work plan, but you know, in reality, you probably have to be fairly flexible here and you know, follow whatever their plan is for you, which is good. You know, you see exactly what it's like in the real world, in the real world of work, that you do have to be flexible. So this is all good preparation for you, okay? But if you're unsure about anything in the work that you're doing in your work placement, it would be important to speak up and to say that. Create a good impression, okay? So think about what your employer is going to be looking for. They're going to be looking for a positive attitude. They're going to be looking for someone who's proactive, not waiting around waiting to be told to do, you know, go up and say, well, look, do you want me to do that? You know, be proactive and treat it seriously. Be on time, you know, do everything you're asked to do and do it the best you can. Okay, so take it seriously. Develop your skills. Okay, if you've chosen your work experience wisely, you will be developing strengths and working on weaknesses. Okay, so maybe one of your strengths is practical work. You're good with your hands. So you might choose a work experience that involves working with your hands, but one of your weaknesses might be working with people, or you might be shy or something like that. So look for opportunities to try and develop that skill, to try and improve maybe your communication skills. All right, so think about that. And then you're constantly reflecting throughout your work experience. So you keep a diary, day-to-day journal of your experience, and you use that to help you clearly see what you've learned. So don't be afraid to ask for feedback. You know, don't be, if you may have somebody assigned to look after you and to tell you what to do. And, you know, use them. Ask them questions. Ask them, is this what you want me to do? Can I do it better? Is there anything else I should be doing? Okay, so don't be afraid to ask for the feedback, and then use that feedback in your next work experience to help you set goals for future placements, so you know you're constantly working to improve yourself through this experience. Okay, now within each module, within each subject, there are going to be key assignments to be completed. So there are 4 learning experience that have been selected from each module that have been decided are of key importance. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about examples or samples of key assignments. So there are going to be 4 for each module. All right, all 4 must be satisfactorily completed at the end of each module, but they're not going to be marked, but they have to be. When I say satisfactorily, that means they have to be, the teacher will assess whether the work that you've handed up is good enough. And is it your best work? And would you be capable of more? And they might give it back to you and say, no, I want you to do some more on that. Okay, and they will accept it when they feel it is done to their satisfaction. Okay, course modules that do not have a final exam, the key assignments will have 2 credits, but if the module has a final exam in June at the end of 6th year, then there's only 1 credit for that key assignment, for each key assignment in that module. Now, you'll only get those credits if you have satisfied the 90% attendance requirement. So if you haven't attended 90% of that course, then you don't get the credits. Now, the only way you can be excused from school in your attendance is if you have a certified sick note from a doctor. Okay. Now, so examples of key assignments. English and communications. So an example from English and communications, maybe reading a short story or a novel and writing a review of it. That could be a key assignment. Or visiting the theatre or going to the cinema or a heritage centre, maybe Glasnevin graveyard, and writing a report about your visit. Preparing a CV and a covering letter. That could be another key assignment. Okay, so the teacher will tell you what your key assignments are and when they are due. Another example of a key assignment, say from active leisure studies, would be carrying out a survey in your local community about leisure provision, or maybe in your school. Completing an application for a job vacancy in the leisure industry. So you can see there's overlap. The key assignments, there is overlap there with ICT, information technology, and English as well. All right, so those are examples of key assignments you might have to do. Now, there are also 7 tasks to do. Now, for those of you who are at the meeting, you've heard this before, but I'm just going to go through it again. Now, if you look at the top bar, the task, the red bar there that says task credit percentage and completed in session. So if you look down from completed in session, you'll see there that there's session 1, 2, 3, and 2 and 4. Okay, so session 1 and 2 are in 5th year. So session 1 is from September to January. Session 2 is from February to June. Okay, so that's when they are assessed. Now, these 7 tasks are not assessed by your teacher. These are assessed by an external examiner in an interview. So you have to do an interview to talk your way through what you have done for each of these tasks. And each of these tasks are should be about 10 hours worth of work. Okay, so it's quite a substantial amount of work involved in this, and each task has 10 credits. Now, the practical achievement task number 6, that is generally completed outside of school. That could be an evening class that you decide to take on. All right, so you have a bit of flexibility with that one. That's something you have a genuine interest in, and it's something that you can decide you're going to do. All right, that's when you're in 6th year. So you can see, I don't have to read those to you. You can see there what all the different tasks are. But what's involved in completing a task? Well, the definition of a task is a practical activity by which learning is applied to the development of a product, investigation of an issue or topic, staging of an event, performance or group, a performance, which can be a group or an individual performance, or provision of a service. So if you go back and look at the tasks and think of like development of a product, so which task could that be linked to? Well, that could be linked to your vocational preparation, couldn't it? Or it could be linked to, so leisure and recreation. If you look at staging of an event, that could definitely be linked to arts education or leisure and recreation. So, each of the tasks can be linked to different things. The purpose of the task is to provide a vehicle for curriculum integration in many courses as possible. In other words, there should be overlap between all of the modules in your task. And I'll explain that further now. So this looks like there's a huge amount of information here. I'm going to talk you through it very simply. So first of all, there are 5 stages to each task. So you have to select your task, you have to plan it, you have to implement it, you have to record it, in other words, write it down, or it could be filming, or it could be any kind of recording, it could be on the computer. There has to be a review and evaluation of the task, and then you have to present it in an interview with an external examiner. Okay, so the selection and planning, number 1 there. So you are involved actively in selecting the task, okay, but the content of the task must be of interest to you. All right, so there's a good bit of flexibility here. It must be within your ability, and it must be something that's possible. There's no point in choosing a task that's way out there, way outlandish. It must be appropriate in the context of the module that you're doing. All right, so it must be appropriate to that module, and it must be original, your own idea. Then the implementation of it, that could be as an individual, this could be an individual task, or it could be a group task. Okay, so you have to decide how are you going to go about it. That's your methodology. You have to gather information. If it's a group, you have to decide who's doing what. Those are the roles. Okay, you have to work on your teamwork. There's cooperative learning there. Again, there's data gathering, and then you have to do an investigation. You might have to do a bit of research in order to carry it out. Okay. And all tasks could be either individual or group, with the exception of the practical achievement task, the personal reflection, and career investigation, which must be individual tasks. All right, so number 3 then, the recording and cross-curricular planning. So you have to keep a record, because all of this has to be presented, remember, at an interview at the end, or a log of your progress. Okay, so your evidence must be, you must have evidence of your research. Okay, you must be able to show this is what I did and this is how I did it. Okay, and there must be some links with other modules that you're doing. Okay, so for example, at the bottom there it says mathematical applications and information technology are mandatory. That means they're compulsory areas of cross-curricular application in the vocational education tasks. So the 4th thing then is the task process. All right, so you have to link your conclusions to the initial aim, so your conclusion of your task. All right, so you have to evaluate, how do you feel the task went? Okay, you have to evaluate yourself. What did you learn? What skills did you learn? What lessons can you apply to the future? What did you identify as your strengths, weaknesses? Okay, and then you have to present it. Now, the report should be concise, focused, and sequential. In other words, it has to be in order of how it was carried out. And there's great opportunity here for being creative. You can present it in so many different ways. Okay, so this is where maybe your IT skills might come into play. And then the interview provides an opportunity for students to improve their marks. So just talking the general points about the task. So work will be guided by the teacher, but the work is the responsibility of the students. So in other words, students will be given quite a bit of support in class. All the work is carried out in class or in the field, but with support from the teacher. Some tasks are individual and some will be done as a group activity. I've already talked about that. In a group, each task, in a group task, each individual must make a valid and meaningful contribution. So that's very important when you're assigning the roles, if it's a group activity, that each person has a valid role, that they have a role that involves something that they can do that's very concrete. Okay, there has to be some reference to the key assignments that you did throughout your module, make it relevant to the module. There should be links to other modules that you're doing, you know, in other subject areas. Okay, for example, most of your work is going to involve using the computer and IT. There will be then an interview facilitated by an external examiner. So this is where someone from the Department of Education comes out and gives you the opportunity to let them know how you completed your task and what you did as you were completing your task. Okay, so now, how is the Leaving Cert Applied assessed? Well, you can see there that they are gaining credits from the minute they start in September. Okay, so they have their 4 key assignments in each module. That's worth 62 credits over the course of the 2 years. There are 7 student tasks. Each of those student tasks has 10 credits each. And then you have your final exams. So your final exams, you can see the credits awarded there at the bottom. There are 68 credits. So by the time you get to do your Leaving Cert, to do your actual final exam, you have the opportunity to get all but your final 68 credits. Okay, there's a total of 200 credits to be gained in the Leaving Cert Applied. Now, so the 3 levels, there are 3 levels, there's no points awarded for Leaving Cert Applied. So there are 3 levels that you can be awarded your Leaving Cert Applied at. There's Pass, that's if you get between 120 and 139 credits. There's Merit, if you get between 140 and 169 credits. And then there's Distinction. Okay, so that's anything from 170 to 200 credits. If you get less than 120 credits or you leave the program early, you'll receive a record of experience. Now, Another concern about Leaving Cert Applied is that it means you can't go on and do any further education or training, and that's not true. So just to show you here, the Leaving Cert Applied is it's a QQI level 4, okay? And from the Leaving Cert Applied, you can do a post-Leaving Cert course, PLC, okay? Or you can go straight into SOLAS or FOSS or an apprenticeship. From your apprenticeship or FOSS, you can go straight into a career. From the PLC, the post-Leaving Cert course, then you can go into your further and higher education. Okay, so you can take it as far as you want with your education. It's just up to you really in that regard. Okay, so I hope that you found this presentation helpful and informative. But if you would like me to contact you or like any further information, please see the advice on this Edmodo page. And thank you for your attention. And it's difficult times for all of us, so I hope you all stay well.